ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Live Chat with Josie this evening. Today, I am excited to be speaking to a fellow woman. I'm talking of Blessing Manshangwa. I'm sure many of you have been waiting for this interview. So Blessing is joining us very shortly. But before I bring her, I just want to play a little clip for you to understand more about the woman that I'm going to be interviewing today, besides the whole other stories that you know about her. She's actually also a philanthropist. She's a businesswoman. She's done a lot of stuff for other women. But before I bring Blessing, that is another side of Blessing Manshangwa that many of you might not know. So Blessing Manshangwa is with us now. Good evening, Blessing. How are you? And welcome to Live Chat with Josie.
Thank you, Josie. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this live chat.
All right, so I've just been showing the viewers another side of you that they might not know. I'm sure many do know, but you know, there are some things that we're proud that will actually cover up the good stuff that you do. And today we're here to discuss about everything. Welcome to the show, and just relax. We're here to just discuss as women. Everything will be fine.
All
But
right, thank you.
yes, it is a culture here on Live Chat with Josie that I ask every guest to introduce themselves. I might know you about, as a businesswoman, as a philanthropist, owner of Ocean Perfumes. You also, I know you once did chicken business and things like that. But when someone asks you who exactly Blessing Manshangwa is, what would you say?
Like I've always said, Blessing Manshangwa is just like any other woman, really. I'm a daughter to my parents. I'm a mother to my children. I'm a sister. I'm a child of God. I know I fail so many times, but I love God. And yeah, I'm a businesswoman. I'm a philanthropist. My desire is to empower women. In short, I think that's the best way I can describe myself.
All right, where were you born? Where did you grow up? How was it then growing up as a young Blessing?
Oh, I always laugh when people ask me that. And if Alois Bunjira is watching, we always laugh about that because I was actually born in a village in my grandmother's hut. I didn't have the privilege to be born in a hospital or a clinic. I was actually born in a hut. So yes, that's my story. And the first part of my life was in the village. Then I came later on to the city, but I'm basically a village girl. Yeah, I'm a village girl born in a hut.
And what is that one thing that you always remember about growing up?
One thing I always remember about growing up, I think we had a happy home with my parents. They tried to give us a very good environment where we could feel that we were protected. And I'm happy that they introduced us to God when we were very young, because I remember my mother basically forcing me to go to church at grade 1, and being rewarded with sweets for cramming verses. Yeah, that's what I can remember about my childhood. A stable family home. My father did try to give us a stable family home.
So when did you become an entrepreneur? When did you start your business?
I actually started business at 22. I was given the franchise for Avon, Zimbabwe, when I was 22. Avon was sold in most departmental stores, be it Greater Men's, Edgar's, all the departmental stores you can think of in Zimbabwe. That's how I started the cosmetic journey.
Mm-hmm. All
Yes,
right.
so that was 2002 when I was 22.
And you also started Women Arise Network in 2005. What inspired you to actually empower other women?
So here I was, a graduate after finishing my degree. You know how it is when you finish your degree. It feels like the world is open out there. You are just going to walk in any company and say, hey, here's my degree, and they're just going to hire you like that. And
Mm-hmm.
when I got to Zim, it was a shock to actually realize that, oh, okay, so I was in school for this long and there are actually no jobs. And I started to see that it was the story of many women. Many women were not employed, many women were not working. I grew up in Family of God under the leadership of Dr. R.F. Utaonashe. And Dr. R.F. Utaonashe taught us Proverbs 31, how to be a virtuous woman. So when I was looking at myself and I see I couldn't have a job, and I was looking at all the other women, they couldn't have jobs, there was just no employment. That's when I discussed with my father, and my father helped me actually to start the Women Arise Network. I knew many people, many women wanted to be in business, but capital was a barrier. So I said, okay, there is actually nothing wrong with trying to help other people. So I was the first company actually in Zimbabwe to give women products without paying cash upfront. Because if you look at other companies like Avon and Herbalife and all other companies, they would say, come and buy, then go and resell. So I was looking at all the other women who actually have got the potential to sell, but they do not have the capital. What is happening to those women? That's when I decided that, okay, let me at least be my sister's keeper, give women products on a 30-day account. Whatever they sell, they come and pay. Whatever they will not have sold, they bring it back, which was a win-win situation because no one is getting stuck with any product if no one buys. So I was inspired by just being able to see other women rise and other women having a voice in their homes. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think it inspired me.
All right. As we continue, I just want to apologize. Siyabonga Nala, thank you so much for your comment. We should have apologized for starting late. But guys, you need to understand when you are interviewing a diva, I've actually been waiting for her, but she was still getting ready. Apologies for starting late, but here we are. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy our chat.
Yeah,
Local
I
businesswoman More Blessing Manshangwa made the call at a prize-giving day ceremony held in Harare, where she handed over flashy cars to rising women entrepreneurs across the board.
If you find whatever it is that you want to do it with all your will. There is nothing that is impossible. There is nothing that as women we cannot do. We are able. Even if we look in the women in the Bible, they lead us, they show us that they were able. We look at Abigail, she was able.
Other women who were part of the event encouraged others to make use of their hands and time to raise their standards of living and uplift the nation.
Ndinonyanya kuona kuti madzimai ari kubatsirika zvakanyanyisa nekuti vazhinji vacho vamwe vanenge vasiri formally employed vari kutongorarama nekutengesa maperfumes iwaya.
I wish all women could be able to work hard.
Government has been pursuing various empowerment initiatives meant to benefit women and youths in key sectors of the economy.
All right, so Blessing, you've done a lot of good stuff. You've really empowered a lot of women. Well done for that. But of course, we are here today because so many issues. You seem to be one woman who has entangled herself in prophets, pastors' words, and you've become known by many when you dragged one of the very prominent and popular men of God in Zimbabwe to court, Emmanuel Makandiwa. I mean, what exactly happened? How did this whole saga between the two of you start?
You know what? I'll be very honest with you. If there is one thing that I regret in my life, if there's anything that has given me sleepless nights and that has broken me, it was joining UFIC ministries. It will forever be my biggest error in life. I went to UFIC not because I was looking for any miracle or anything, but you know, I grew up with a mom who was always encouraging me to connect with God. I had always been in Celebration Church. So, you know, there was a time where there came that whole wave about prophets, you know, prophets. They talk to God, they are doing miracles. And as a child of God, I felt like I wanted to be at a higher spiritual level in my life. And I actually discussed this with my pastor in Celebration Church and said, I'm thinking of going to UFIC so that I can hear about this man, so that I can see for myself about this man, the miracles that he's making and all that he's doing. And you know, Celebration Church, it's a very civilized church. It's a church that is full of love. They didn't have a problem. They actually prayed for me and said, it's fine, go and try and see. And I remember very well, it was the 4th of January, 2011. If I could turn back the hands of time, one thing that I would ask God is to have never walked into UFIC ministries. It destroyed my life. It destroyed my soul. It destroyed my spirit. And how we started with Prophet Makandiwa is there's a time when I started feeling like this was not the place for me. We were having these conversations with my husband, my ex-husband, and we agreed. One thing that I didn't like was to pray to the God of Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa, not because I was rebellious, but I said to my ex-husband, the God of Jacob, I know. The God of Abraham, I know. I can pray to the God of Abraham, but the God of Emmanuel Makandiwa, I do not know, because so much is happening in the world. And that was the other thing that I didn't like about UFIC.
Did he ever force anyone to pray to the God of Makandiwa or God of Emmanuel?
You know, there is something about being in a manipulative church. A manipulator is not going to show you directly that they are manipulating you. It might be testimonies that, oh, when I started calling the God of Prophet Makandiwa, my child was sick. Then my child started walking, rose up the bed. You know how these people always do these things in a way where you end up feeling like, you know what, you have to pray to the God of Prophet Makandiwa. So yeah, that was one thing that I didn't like about that church. But what actually brought the fight was when I left UFIC Ministries, there is an article that Emmanuel Makandiwa wrote. This article was the importance of a good name. I think I did send it to you.
But the problem, before you even talk about that article, why did he get, you say that you felt the article was directed at you and to attack your business, but why do you think he did that? Because you say that you were doing chickens and it was talking about cosmetics. So why do you think, what went wrong between you and Emmanuel Makandiwa for him to write that article?
So the last day I went to UFI Ministries, we had agreed with my husband that we are actually going to church today to just say goodbye to the ministry. We don't belong here.
What
And
had you found out? What did you realize that you need to leave UFIC?
what did I realize?
Mm.
Having grown up in a church where, you know, the basis of being a church at the end of the day is about converting people to Christ. That was number one. I remember asking Prophet Makandiwa, why is it in UFIC Ministries we never do the sinner's prayer? Because if people are coming, converting themselves, coming to Christ, we have to be a church that is focused on winning souls. We have to be a church that is actually able to make people do the sinner's prayer so that they can start their walk with Christ. We can't be a church that can have 3 hours of people being saved. Those with $2,000 come to the stage and people are sitting, music is playing. Those with 1,000, those with $50, those with 20. But we fail to get even just 10 minutes to say those who want to give their life to Christ, stand up, we do the sinner's prayer. There was something so wrong about that. I asked him, I didn't get a proper answer about it. So I started feeling like, okay, so what is the point? This is like a show. What is the point of being in church if we are not converting people to Christ? That was the other reason.
Listen, can I ask you something before we continue with Makandiwa? Why did you leave Utaunashe's church?
Okay, when I left Utaunashe's church, it was by marriage. And up to now, I mean, family of God, one thing I'll tell you about family of God is we are a family. Up to now, the people you see in my life, if there's anything that Andrew Tawanashe and Dr. RF managed to do, was to build strong relationships of families. The people I call my sisters, the people I call my brothers, you'll find these are people I grew up with in family of God. So I actually left family of God because I was getting married to someone who was in Celebration Ministries.
Okay. So then now you moved to Emmanuel Makandiwa's church. You found out, I don't know how long you were there before you found out that Makandiwa wants people to pray to his own God, not God of Abraham. And also you found out that he doesn't do the sinner's prayer. And for how long were you there before you found out that, okay, this is not the church for me? And I still want you to explain to me if Makandiwa has ever preached on the pulpit that everybody should pray to the God of Makandiwa, or it is just something that everybody just starts doing and people start following.
Okay, so this will surprise you, but for me, I'll speak for myself. There was a stronghold in UFI Ministries. I felt 2 years in UFI, I knew it was not a place for me. But I don't know, you know, there's something about these churches that I can't explain. I think other people who are there and who are in these prophetic churches, they can understand what I mean. You know,
we are here with you, and as you are here, you're someone who has helped a lot of women business-wise. Also, a lot of women that wouldn't want to fall in the same trap. So we are here today. Try and explain what you noticed. And did you feel, and like, I really want to understand about this God of Makandiwa. Did you feel that there is another God that you guys are being forced to pray to, or what exactly was going on?
Honestly, Josie, there is only one true Bible, one book, the Holy Bible. And this is the book that must guide us. It is my belief, and I would want people to understand that what I believe and what other people believe, it doesn't have to be the same. But for me to come and pray to the God of Josie, I don't know who that God is. You may explain him to me, but when you're in your home, when you're away from people, I don't know what you're doing. So I don't want to commit to this God that I do not know. I think I was happier to commit to the God that I know. It's something that is in the Bible, not the God of Prophet Makandiwa. I wasn't comfortable with that. The other reason that I didn't like about UFIC Ministries was people say that Makandiwa is a good teacher. He's a good preacher. I don't deny that. But that's why they say, do you hear and perceive? Do you hear? Do you perceive? Do you see? Do you understand? Because it's one thing to get caught up in the moment and say, oh, this man can preach. But are you going deeper into the messages that he is preaching? I felt like most of Makandiwa's messages, they ended up being about a prophet. If you believe in a prophet, your things will be, you will be well. If you do this to a prophet, your doors will open. It was all about a prophet. And my background, where I'm coming from Pastor Tom. Pastor Tom is a man who will teach you about connecting with your God. When you connect with God, your things are going to work out. When you have a personal relationship with God, your things are going to work out. But in UFIC, it was more about when you do this to the prophet, when you do that for the prophet, when you bless the prophet,
So,
when you
Blessing, for 2 years, you were seeing this, you were there, and you every Sunday you'd take your shower, take your bath, and still go to the same church for 2 years.
I was actually in UFIC for 5 years.
Okay,
but
now it even gets worse. For 5 years, you were
5
there,
years.
5 years. And you
Yes.
know that this guy is asking me to pray to his God. The guy is not of God. You even parted with a lot of money, $1 million, like I see on the documents that I have here. Why?
You know what, Josie? You will never understand.
I'm here to understand. I think many people are watching us today also want to understand.
I have people, Josie, who have come to me and said, I gave my car at the pulpit. In the moment of, if you want your breakthrough, bring whatever you have, sow everything you have. You know, you if you've never been in a prophetic church, it's a message that you'll never understand. I was there. You just end up giving him your money. You don't even know how you ended up. For me, it was not for show off, because remember, this money was not being announced in church. My tithes were actually being collected from home or from my office.
By
I would
who? By who?
I wouldn't want to mention names. We are talking about Prophet Makandiwa. There are people there I prefer to protect because of my personal relationship with them.
And you're so sure the money was getting to Emmanuel Makandiwa?
Yes, they would actually give me receipts. It was getting to him because it was his brother
But
who would
what?
always come to it.
But bless him, what was so special about you, unless that's what happens at UFIC, that people have to drive to your office, to your home, to collect offering, to collect tithe? Is this the norm at UFIC, or it was just something that you actually told them that I can be doing this, just for us to understand?
You will never understand, Josie, but other people who have left UFI will tell you. you take everything you have to church, and you ask yourself, when you have taken everything, why did I take everything? There were actually times I was left with no money, and I would have taken it all to church. And up to now, I've got no answers how that would happen. And I hear, I remember another person telling me that I met a guy in town who was telling me about fish and Mozambique, how they wanted to go and sell this fish. The scams that happens in town. And they actually gave this guy money, believing that he was going to go and sell the fish and bring part of the money. I don't know, with the UFI, people can condemn me, but I have to own my story. I have to say.
Yeah, nobody's condemning you, but then we can only. Yes, you can own your story, but we are here to really understand. Because, I mean, Blessing, there is a report that you actually went to UFIC and you had defaulted, you had a debt of about $500,000 for a mortgage. You went to UFIC because you wanted miracles or prayers, I don't know. And so Prophet Makandiwa, there was one Sunday or one service that he said that this is a Sunday to settle debts or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe you can actually assist me with that. And you came up because I think you and your husband had a debt of about $500,000, and you saw a seed. So my question is, you have a debt of about 500,000 towards your house, and then you still go to a prophet to sow a seed just for the debt to disappear, or what exactly happened?
Okay, so our debt was with ZB Bank.
Mm-hmm.
It was for 185,000.
Okay.
What I do not understand, Josie, up to now is we could have paid that debt because we had the money, but we were taking it all to church, and we actually lost that property. If you are to ask me how that happened, I have got so many questions. I think when I get to heaven, I've got so many questions that I'm going to ask God, because I mean, a debt of 185, it was not a lot of money, but we were taking it all to church instead of paying off our debts. How? Why? I don't know. I'll tell you another incident. My father is blind, and he wanted a miracle. He took $100,000 to Emmanuel Makandiwa. I was so hurt because I'd already moved out of the church, and I actually confronted my Makandiwa, and I said, if you can actually take $100,000 from a blind man, there is something wrong with all that. Despite that, there's a miracle that he's believing for. You being people who are saying you are called by God, why are you not just doing this miracle for him without having to take 100,000 from a blind man? And I'm telling you, there are so many people who parted with their money in EFI, and they don't know how and why. For me, it's my story. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that's I lost everything in EFI Ministries.
Okay, so there is a comment here from Rutendo Faith Jenkins. It says in the court document from the High Court, it says you never had an account with ZB Bank.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I actually, yes, when we started Ocean, our bank was actually ZB Bank. That was our bank. That's the bank that we were owing.
So why is it that the court did not pick that up, or why is it that she's saying that the High Court said you never had a ZB account?
Okay, so this is social media.
Mm-hmm.
You must understand that in the comment sections, there are also Makandiwa's children who will be throwing offsides or trying to divert. I've gone through all that, where there is a real issue that we are talking about, and they will come and say, no, there was nothing like that. But yes, ZB Bank was actually my bank when I started. That was my only bank when we started our business.
Okay. So you left UFIC after or before you took Makandiwa to court?
So what happened is when Makandiwa wrote his article after we left church, the importance of a good name. I think I did send it to you, the article. Let me give me a
No,
minute
I have it.
to.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, yeah.
But if you have it and you are not going to be able to put it out there for people to understand, then do you understand that we are actually going to have a half-baked story? Because this article, it said, when your name is tarnished, you lose customers just because of a name that is not good. You need just one paper to write badly about you and say that you are selling rotten chickens, and that is the end of your career. You just need one person who can move around telling people that your perfumes can cause cancer. And once that news begins to spread, your company will begin to go down. I mean, Josie, I just left your church. There are people doing timber. There are people doing tiles. There are people doing clothes. There are people doing groceries. But when Emmanuel Makandiwa decided to write an article, he had to choose the two businesses that I was doing, chickens and perfumes. People might say you're overreacting, but you have to see an attack when it's coming. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to see an attack. A lot of people actually texted me that day and they were like, be very careful. It is very weird that he would write an article about the importance of a good name. And he actually has got the nerve to say it only takes one person to say your perfumes can cause cancer. And you are into perfumes, blessings, and you're into chickens. What is he on about? You get what I mean?
Yes.
That's when you notice that, okay, something is wrong. But I don't like overreacting. I said it's okay. I remember even my brother telling me, you know what? Stay woke. The streets ain't safe. Just stay woke. This is just the beginning of an attack from Makandiwa. Another one is coming, but don't respond. You know, when people tell you, you know, with these people, don't respond. That's the attitude I took towards that article. So many people told me there is something wrong with this article. Why is he talking of perfumes? Why is he talking of chickens? That is what you do with your life. But anyway, it's fine. We let that one go. Then in February, that was in August, we left to UFI in July. So you can imagine in July, a month later, he's writing an article attacking perfumes and chickens. It's okay. We'll leave it to God. Then in February, I woke up with my inbox full. There's this page called The Truth About Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa. They'd written an article about me and my husband. The mistake that they made, you know what I've noticed with Church Mafia? Church Mafia, they create a good page, which is official. Like this page is for Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa, but they will have other pages. It's their pages. I'm not trying to run him down, but I'm just telling the truth of what I've seen in these churches. There will be another page. That page will be the one that will be trashing people, that will be exposing people, doing everything that you can never expect from a man of God. There was a situation that I had with my husband, and that situation in UFIC, I never had any other pastor who I could go to for counseling. No matter what would happen between me and my husband, even without an appointment, I would drive to Prophet Makandiwa's house. I wasn't going to allow any other person to counsel me. So we had a situation which we went to Prophet Makandiwa's house. And I told Prophet, this is the situation that we have with my husband. So you can imagine in February, they wrote an article about the 5 evil people that had left UFI and the reasons why they left. And they wrote about something I knew that it was only between Mr. and Mrs. Makandiwa and my husband. Do you get what I mean? You can't tell me someone is running this page.
So you confided in Mama and Papa or your husband, and then the next thing is whatever secrets you confided in them were revealed to the public.
If you go and read that article, Josie, I woke up with so many people saying, can you go to this page, The Truth About Prophet Makandiwa? Can you go to this page and see? I was shocked. And we sat with my husband. I remember I called Pastor Tawanda, Pastor T. Josie, I was crying. Josie, I was emotional because I said to Pastor T, these things are things that I shared with Prophet Makandiwa and Mama as my spiritual leaders. For you to go to a page and write all these things, my dirty laundry, and you try to exonerate yourself, and yet you know I only shared this with Prophet and Mama. It's wrong. I cried to Pastor T. I was very hurt. I was very emotional. I took time. Pastor T comforted me. Pastor T said, Mama, calm down. Think about it. We will talk later. And you know what I did after that? I said, it's either I attack or I decide to make peace. I wrote a letter to Prophet and Prophetess Makandiwa. And in that letter, I actually begged them and I said, as high as God is, God says, come, let us reason together. So if there's anything that you feel that I've wronged you, I am asking you for a chance, for time to talk to you so that we may not, I saved you for 5 years. I was loyal to you. And what is the direction that this is going? I could tell it was not going to stop. Come, let us reason together. Do you know what they did when I wrote them that letter? The good thing is my letter is not a letter that I took myself. I actually gave it to my advocate, Advocate Arthur Marara. And I said, Advocate, can you please deliver this letter to Mr. and Mrs. Makandiwa for me? And all those contents have been written by Sunday Mail. It was a polite letter asking them, can we talk about it? Instead of coming to me saying, you were once a daughter of this family, come, let's talk. They actually made an appointment with Mutamangira and Associates, and they brought their lawyers, Manasseh, and said, you know what, their letter was actually signed by Pastor Wenga as the FD of the company of UFIC Ministries. I was so shocked by what they wrote. They said, if you think that you were that powerful in UFIC, please just compile all your receipts. We'll reimburse you all your money. I was like, oh, I thought this was actually a letter where I was pleading to say, can we come and talk about this? You used to be my father. You used to be my mother. Some issues we can solve without being dramatic, but they actually said, bring the receipts. Me being a businesswoman, you'll be shocked from the first day that I gave money to UFI, I had all the receipts. Mutamangira and Associates will confirm for you that by the time they finished calculating all the receipts, there were some missing, but there were receipts of 798,000 US dollars. They were there. And Mutamangira then wrote to Manasseh and said, you brought this letter and said, if she has got receipts, we'll rather give her back her money. These are her receipts, 798,000. She gave more than $1 million. Some of the receipts are missing, but here are receipts of 798. That's when all the drama started. That's when all the drama started.
Okay. So a lot of people are asking where the articles are. I have pasted in the comment section. If you check in the comment section, I've pasted all the articles that Blessing is actually referring to. In case you want to read those articles, everything, I've posted it in the comment section. But then, Blessing, before I ask you about what your image is now, after, like, what what lessons did you learn after leaving UFIC, and do you have any advice for other women who are still there, or I don't know if you have anything, or what is your image about Makandiwa since leaving the UFIC? But before I'll ask you that, I mean, these receipts you're talking about, I think I got to about 800 and something thousand. The other receipts, you couldn't find them, right? Not to
Yes,
judge you,
I gave more than 1 million,
but
but
not to
if you're
judge you. Blessing, not
Mhm.
to judge you. I am not here to judge you. I'm not God. I'm not. This is just a platform for us to discuss women to women.
Yes.
Was it for business? Was it an investment? Was it, did he promise you something, or your husband? Because at least
Georgie,
you say that your father paid 100,000. He's a blind man for a miracle. Till today, I think your father is still blind.
he is very blind. Josie, you will never understand. If there is anyone that can preach in a convincing way, it's Emmanuel Makandiwa. Emmanuel Makandiwa will stand and say, gore rino iri, iro rino iri, rega uone mwana wa mai, zvinhu zvako zvese zvichanaka. People will be flocking to the altar to seed. People will go and seed cars. People will go and seed title deeds. People will go and seed school fees. Then 2 weeks later, a month later, 3 months later, you start realizing like, oh no, that was actually motivational speaking. There is nothing that is changing. It was just motivational speaking. That's how I felt in my own way. He is a very convincing man who will convince you to give and reasons why you should give. And he can start by telling you, some of you, you are here, you are saying you don't want to sacrifice, but Abraham was willing to sacrifice Isaac. And you are still thinking of keeping your car. You are still thinking of keeping your car, your house. You know, you don't understand when you're dealing with a manipulator. These are people who are very good at manipulating. And he did that to me. It was, I just, all I know is I lost everything in UFIC Ministries.
Okay. Blessing, do you remember how much you paid at Family of God?
At Family of God, I gave a lot of money in Celebration Church. My pastor would tell you, Pastor Jeff, I gave a lot of money. But you know what? You know what I loved about Pastor Jeff? Pastor Jeff, you could actually take 20,000. Pastor Jeff will sit with you and say, my child, he's a businessman. You understand? You have brought 20,000. I know we said we want to build our church here. How much profit did you make this month? I did this, I did this. You will actually correct you and say, no, okay, so we'll take 10,000. You can keep the 10,000. That is a heart of a father who is saying, I'm not only here to take from you. Before you give me this money, I want to understand what you're doing in business. If you're to ask Celebration Church, you see that Pastor Jeff Mzwimbi, he had more of business people in his church because he was that father who could actually visit your business, look at it and tell you, no, I think you're making a mistake here. So there are times where you are moved by saying, I want to do something in the house of the Lord. And he will come and correct you like, no, my child, I know you want to do that, but you see, this is how your finances should look like. This is how you should do this. So we'll take 10,000, the 10,000, put it back in business. But with Makandiwa will stand on the pulpit and tell you, if
Okay.
you're still saving 10%.
No. I'm asking. Yes, but you left Family of God, you went to Makandiwa, you also went to PhD. What happened at Magaya's church?
No, I never went
How much?
I never went to PhD. Magaya was my ex-husband's friend. I never went to PhD.
All right, I'm going to ask based on the last live that you did on your Facebook page. You said that Magaya actually knelt before you. What was that all about?
Okay, so with Magaya, what happened is between their friendship with my ex-husband, there was an issue of a car. They blessed each other with a Discovery 4.
Who blessed who? Who blessed who?
Mr. Manshangwa blessed Prophet Magaya with a Discovery 4. Then something did happen. And, prophets, the other thing that you must understand about prophets is they are willing to, they will go to any length to protect their names. So it became very rough and a lot of things happened.
But it looks
what
like,
I remember about Prophet Magaya is I still remember that day very well when he realized, you know what, I'm fighting people I shouldn't be fighting. But I was also stubborn. He sent Gamu Gwasira, the wife to Musa, to say, can you go and talk to Blessing and say, come, let's talk about this. I know you did this out of a good heart, but I was also angry at the time. I was not willing to talk. I decided to do the legal route. Things turned out nasty. But at the end of it all, as much as Magaya is this guy who is just Magaya, I was just humbled by the way he then came to me and said, you know what, Blessing,
no,
when
but listen, before getting to where he came to kneel and whatever, why is it that you and your husband would just bless pastors? Why not? I mean, there are many suffering people. Why pastors? I just want to understand. For your husband to just go and dash a car to Magaya. Why?
I think, you know what, if you feel like you are blessed and you feel like God is trying to use someone, you always want to be part of that. You always want to be part of that movement. And I remember what actually prompted my husband to buy that car is Prophet Magaya was driving a Murano. Then that Murano, he had an accident with it. Then we took it to my father's garage to actually fix it. Then my husband was just like, but you know what? Why not just buy him a new car and surprise him with a new car? So we actually did that just to bless him. Remember, we have blessed families. If you look at my video, you have seen buildings where I was actually monitoring buildings being built. It's these people that I would actually feel like this person is homeless. I've taken children to school. I've given away food to people. I've also played my role in my community where I felt like people were in need. So giving in church was just continuing with what I believed. That is.
But did you expect something in return?
No, from Prophet Magaya, honestly.
No, generally in churches, since you are comparing how you give to charities and all that, that's what you do in church. Were you or are you expecting anything in return from the tithes, the offerings that you give in church?
No, I think in Family of God, I wasn't expecting anything. In celebration, I wasn't expecting anything. And do you know why people in other churches, they take money and not expecting anything? It's because nothing is promised. Do you get what I mean? Pastor Tom will just preach there and preach the word. If you feel moved by the word, you are just gonna give on your own. But with prophetic churches, unfortunately, it comes with promises. If you do this, God will do this for you. If you sacrifice, God will do this for you. So people will really bleed, sacrificing so that they may benefit something, because no one wants to miss an opportunity of a blessing. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Then you realize after giving everything
So
that no.
when Papa is on the pulpit and saying that if you give now, next week you're going to buy a Lamborghini, that's when people stand up and start.
Yes, you see, so it's an issue that with prophetic churches, it's promises. Your giving is attached to a promise, as compared to my work with Pastor Jeff and Pastor Clara, my work with Pastor Tom and Pastor Bonnie. It was just the word. Those who feel compelled to give, just come and give. It's not like you're going to find gold. Makandiwa will tell you you can find gold, Mufu. I mean, you know what he's done? Three-day babies. These are the miracles where you're like, wow.
But
So
is it
if
not? But is it not also the same thing that your former boyfriend would say? Jay Israel. They're all pastors. They're all pastors. Blessing. You left Family of God. Anyway, before we get to Jay Israel,
yes,
your family is still going to UFIC, right?
Okay, so I think the way we can progress is if we deal with one story at a time.
No,
Because
no,
if
no,
you
no,
want
no.
to,
With questioning, like I said, I just touched
Mhm.
on that, but we're not on J Israel yet. I'm still on
Yes,
UFIC. Why is your
yes.
family still going to UFIC? Despite everything that has happened between you and Makandiwa, are you saying that now they actually believe Prophet Makandiwa than you, their own family member?
You know what? All I can say is my father loves me so much. What I can tell you is my mother is a woman of prayer. There is a reason why they are there. I'm not here to talk about my family, but what I can tell you is my father loves me so much. He loves me so much. My mother is a woman of prayer. There's a reason. I can't say much, but let's end it there. But yes, they are still in UFI.
There are also allegations that you poisoned your mother. What do you have to say about that? Is that
About
true?
okay, so what I've noticed with my posts is when I do a post,
Mm-hmm.
you always get Makandiwa's children. Remember, these are people with time and many fake accounts who
Mm-hmm.
can actually come and just write anything, because remember, their idea is to discredit you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example that after leaving EFI, Makandiwa wrote an article. I didn't respond to that. I asked him to talk. He said, bring receipts. He realized there were receipts. Now, after realizing the receipts are actually there, 798, and Mutamangira and Sam Kange and Chabani Mpofu are now saying, here are the receipts you requested for. Can we have the money? You will not believe what they did. And I would actually want you to play that video. They would do anything to discredit your character. There is a guy called Munyaradzi Rukato. He is in the protocol of Imano Makandiwa. He came to our house and said to my husband, I am asking you to keep this young man for us for a short while. And if you were to add my husband to this live chat, I have times that I dream. I'm not a dreamer, but I have times that I dream. I actually woke up and I told him, you know what? Someone is going to come and ask you for a favor. But in my dream, it was like, you must record. So when Rukato came with this boy, my husband said, I am going to record this, Mukoma. Do you have a problem with it? He said, no, I don't have a problem with it. He recorded. They left this boy. Then Rukato asked my husband to go for Sadza, whether it was Kugarwe, I don't remember. But I remember before my husband left the house, I said, that video you recorded, can you send it to my phone? Can you send it to my daughter's phone? Can you believe that when they went out to Garwe, he mysteriously lost his phone? 3 months later, after taking care of this guy, police people busted us at our house. We were arrested for kidnapping. And we were like, how? This young man was brought to us. We didn't kidnap him. We were taken to serious fraud. We were actually handcuffed and we were told minimum 5 years. Until my lawyer came with the recording and said, no, here's the recording they took the day Rukato brought this guy. This is the record of
Okay,
Rukato.
Blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play the video now, but I just want you to answer me. Did you poison your mom? Yes or no?
No, I did not poison. That's what I was getting to. Just play that, then you'll understand.
Alright. Zita ndiani? Alright, good. Chiripo. On what basis? Ndiri nyika irino. Ugadzisa nyaya dzako. chendoda kuziva kuti pana kutora here kuti uye kuno pana kufosa kana kuti chii
no hapana
ndauya ndega
ndauya ndega chori ndingati watsvaga
watsvagani
tsvaga Manshangwa
nani
namstikukana
kom ndiri record kuda I'm recording for any future issues right iwe wauya kwandiri uchikumbira handiti wauya naMr. Rukato komanda wakuisa pavidhio
right inini kuda uya kuofisi kwangu achitikumbira kuti ndikumbira kuti ndifanira kugara bhosi vanhu vari kuita sei vari kunditsvaga saka vana mutino problem ndisai kutaura namukoma Manshangwa bhosi kumba kwangu inini kuplus kure hakuna mautilities ari kuna wifi nechii saka nangokumbirawo mukoma Manshangwa kuti vatichengetere mfana for the time being since tine issue yedu kumachi kumapurisa saka ndangoita kuti vafanira kumuchengeta kuitira kuti kuti pakaitika anything tinokwanisa kuzoti aende pari safe for now since nyaya yedu takaenda kumapurisa takataurirana saka angouya kuzondikumbira kuofisi kwangu saka
Okay, so this video, you said that's the other guy sitting there, the big guy is Makandiwa's security guard or security guy.
Yes. Yeah, one of the security guys.
You brought that guy to your husband after you had a dream actually the previous night or some nights before that there's someone that's going to come and ask for a favor.
Yes.
But when this person comes, we need to actually record everything they're going to ask for. So this small boy came with Makandiwa security guy, who is actually there in that video as well.
Yes.
Asking to be at your place to stay with you and your husband for a while. He said asylum, or he said some people are looking for him. But then when he came to your house, you gave him, after recording, your husband went for lunch with this security guy, then his phone mysteriously disappeared.
Yes.
But before the phone disappeared, luckily you had asked your husband to forward the video to you and to somebody else. I don't know.
To my daughter. Yes.
Your daughter.
I will tell you something. The day we were arrested, when we were at serious fraud and they were telling us how we were going to go to jail for 5 years, they'd been looking for this boy for 3 months. When my lawyer actually came with that footage, one of the police guys actually asked, where did you get it from? And I asked, was it ever missing? So I was so shocked that, okay, I have given you receipts. You have stood on pulpit, Emmanuel Makandiwa, and you said, if anyone feel cheated, as long as you have got your receipt, you can come and I can give you back your money. But now that you see that Honorable Sam Kange has produced the receipts to 798,000, you are now thinking of other ways of discrediting me or silencing me to the point that you are willing to trap me with a kidnapping. I was going to go. If I didn't have that video, Josie, what were my chances of explaining that no, Rukato, Makandiwa's guy brought this guy?
So UFIC people watching us right now actually know the security guy in the video.
They know that guy, Mnyaradzi Rukato. He has been in newspapers with issues of fighting people, trying to protect Makandiwa. And this is what UFIC has done to me. And I'm thinking, if Emmanuel Makandiwa just didn't want with the money, he could have just said, no, I don't want with the money, rather than putting my family through all the drama. And you know what they did? There is no online that didn't run that story. Ocean couple in kidnapping charges. I'm sure you get what I mean. When someone is on a mission to discredit you, why are you discrediting me? When I was in your church, I was loyal. I served you to the best of my ability. I did love you, and I served you well. I asked you, can you come? Can we talk? And instead of coming to talk, you came with a letter saying, give us receipts. The receipts are there. Now you are on to something else to try and discredit me. They have written so many stories about me. I have stopped caring. If they are saying I poisoned my mom, my mother right now during Christmas, if I'm to show you messages, my mom will be asking me, bring my vasukuru, can I please be with my grandchildren? My children were with my mother during the whole Christmas. Tell me, Josie, if I had poisoned my mom, would she be calling me, can you bring my grandchildren? The whole Christmas, I was here in South Africa by myself. My mother wanted to spend time with my grandchildren, with her grandchildren. After that, 2 days ago, I was laughing. My sister sending me a voice note. We've collected Zoe and Emmanuel. They are with me now. Do you really think that if I had done something like that, how do I poison my mother? My mother has got a chef. My mother has got 3 maids. I have never had an opportunity to be able to cook for my mother because there is a chef. If you are to ask my mother today, I have never had an opportunity to even take water to her. How can I possibly poison her? What opportunity to gain what? For what purpose?
Oh, okay. So then there was the issue about you and Jay Israel. Chari, prophet, is it pastor? Is he a prophet or a pastor? Pastor Chari, yeah, came
You know
out
what?
and did a broadcast against you and Jay Israel. What happened? And I think Pastor Chari you said he's a family member, but his wife actually came to your house. Why did she come to your house? What happened exactly, Blessing? Who planted that recorder?
You know what, Josie? What I want to tell Christians out there is it is now very rare to find a man of God who is moved by love. You get what I mean? Because if you call yourself a pastor, even I'm saying this even to Makandiwa and my Makandiwa, Chari and the wife as well. Remember, I didn't answer to the call of becoming a pastor. Do you understand? I didn't answer to that call. Chari, if he says he answered to the call of being a pastor, Makandiwa says he answers to the call of being a pastor. The God that I know is a God of love. And what I have seen, if you look at my life and what Makandiwa has been doing, where is love in all that? He is a man. To me, Makandiwa is a man who wears an angelic face. But the things that he does behind are very shocking. That man, I remember when I was being mentored by someone, I said, I want you to tell me the truth. Is there heaven? Is there hell? Because when you meet someone like Makandiwa and you start to see the things that they do to you, you start thinking maybe these guys, there's something that they know. Maybe this game is only going to end here on earth. Why would you know the scriptures like that and still go and do all these things until that pastor explained to me about pagan something? Like, yes, they know what they're doing is wrong, but it's a make-believe. They are in it for the money. I mean, you parted with $1 million. Where else was he going to get $1 million US? If he was a man of God, a man who preaches love, if he was a man of character, a man of his word, being a man who stood on a pulpit and say, if you want your money, I can give you back. The thing that he should have just done, Emmanuel Makandiwa, was to say, thank you, Blessing, for being part of our church. Now that you say you want the money, here is your money. And remember, I didn't ask for it. You wrote a letter and said, we are willing to reimburse you all your money. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
And on Chari, up to now, I wonder what that woman was doing in my house. She is not my friend. I have never tried to be a friend. She is not a woman I would even qualify her to be part of.
Who invited her?
She came with my sister.
Okay.
And we are in a family of 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to lay our dirty laundry in public.
Mm-hmm.
But that one sister that she came with is the one sister that I do not see eye to eye with. That's why I'm not happy. She said, my Chari is coming, be polite. She came, she waited for me. My friends can remember that day I was calling them, telling them, I'm just roaming in the streets of Joburg. I don't want to go and meet her. For what? I've got nothing that I need from her. I know who she is, and she's not a person that I would want to be associated with. I'm sure they'd come to see what the house looks like and whatever they could do. I don't know. I don't want to be accusing of anything, but I'm just asking my Chari. My Chari, you don't know me. My Chari, I've never been to your house. What gave you the guts to walk in my house when I was not there? And when you know that I've got a court case with your father, your spiritual father, where did you get the guts to actually walk into my house, sit in my house, be comfortable in my house? What were you doing there? For what? I will never get the question. I will never get answers to this. Then I want to ask evidence, Chari. You call yourself a man of God and you call yourself a man of love. Because if you are a man of God, everything that you do must be moved by love. Even if anyone we had done anything wrong, even if I was on the wrong, or Jay was on the wrong, or anyone was on the wrong, what stopped you from calling me and saying, Blessing, sit here, Israel, sit here. I've got this footage of you doing this. This is what the word says. This is what, you need to repent. I'm not saying we did it, but do you understand the question marks that I have with people who say they are men of God, and yet the things that they do, God is not represented by that. God cannot be represented by people who are spiteful. Because I remember a friend of mine saying to me, if I have got mistakes, say them to me, because those mistakes are to be corrected by me. Is that not so?
Mm.
So what was the idea of a man, a boy? That boy, how old is he? He's so young. I think, is he even 30? I see Chare as a little boy to me. You know,
don't say that, because they're not so much difference with Jay Israel. I mean, they're all small boys. Don't say that. But anyway,
I understand
yes.
that. I do understand that. But when I talk about Chari, it's another story. When I'm talking about Jay Israel, it's another story. But
you still haven't answered me that. So all these questions you're asking, have you managed to ask even Chari or the wife who planted that recording in your house? Until today, do you know who did it?
I'll tell you something, Josie. We found out that there were secret cameras in my house in September. I was called in August. I was in Zimbabwe. Then I was told there was a break-in in my house. I've got messages. I drove all the way to Zimbabwe, to South Africa. I remember I told a very reputable person, I can forward you the messages, which you can actually post on the wall, and one friend. I've driven to South Africa because my house has been broken into. I've got a house with 8 bedrooms. Anyone who has been to this house knows every house has got a TV. I've got a house with 3 lounges. There was not even one TV that was left. I have got cameras. They were all disconnected. There was no trace whatsoever what had happened in my house. I said, it is fine. It's okay. After that, later on, I said, let me reconnect my cameras. That's when I was told there are other cameras in this house. We said, oh, is it? We will bait them. If it's
that was in September, right?
That was in September.
When did my Chari come to your house?
My Chari came in my house just before lockdown in March.
Okay.
March, on the 12th of March, 2020.
And the cameras were put like in September, way before, right?
Honestly speaking, I only got to know my cameras were not working after my things were taken away from my house. Only when I was saying, let me now sort out my cameras. That's when I realized that there were other secret cameras in the house.
So who planted the cameras? Was it not Jay?
You know what, Josie? To this day, if there's anyone out there we have been given the gift of dreaming or the gift to see, let please put my mind at rest. I have to know who can be that cruel, who can be that cunning, who can be that evil. I am sure even the devil, Satan himself, is so afraid of his position, because a person who can do that, the devil should be afraid. This person is
But
willing to
why didn't you remove them, Blessing? When you found out you have secret cameras, why didn't you remove them?
I wanted to know who had done it. I'm going to
But
talk about Josie. I'm going to talk about Josie. If Josie is going to be very hurt about the things that I would have said, somehow she's going to come and confront me, isn't it? I'm going to talk about Pamela. If Pamela is going to be hurt by what I would have said, one way or another, whoever put these cameras, we are going to set a trap. One day, the real person who put the cameras, we are going to trigger something and they will expose themselves.
so, in other words, when you were sitting in your lounge with Jay Israel that day discussing about whatever, all this, you knew there were secret cameras.
I'm not going to comment on that, but mark my words when I said I was not willing to remove those secret cameras without knowing who had put them, for what purpose, for what reason, to achieve what.
But why won't you comment?
Why won't I comment?
Yeah,
Because
just want to know.
Because maybe it is legal and we've taken it up, and
Okay, you've
sometimes
reported. You have reported the.
Yeah, I reported. Yeah.
Okay, so there is something that I keep noticing about you. Whenever I mention Jay, you start blushing. You have this beautiful smile, like, oh my! Even I watched your last live on your Facebook page. I couldn't help it but feel like you still love the guy. I mean, how did you two meet? You still love Jay, right?
No, I don't love Jay anymore. Not at all. I think people get it wrong. You know why I laugh and I smile every time people talk about Jay? Because I know at the moment, this is the story that everyone is talking about. You get what I mean? This is the story that is trending on social media, on WhatsApp. Jay this, Jay that, blessing this, blessing that. So every time it comes up, I laugh. I just laugh.
So now answer my question. Do you still love him?
No, we are so over with Jay.
Do you miss him?
I don't.
So today
I don't.
he wrote a love letter for you today. Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
So how did you feel?
I just said to myself, this is just Jay being Jay. And I moved on with my day.
Okay, so tell me something, Blessing. We've spoken about Makandiwa, we've spoken about Magaya, we've spoken about Family of God. There are so many churches, in Zimbabwe. Now let's talk about Jay Israel. Is he a real man of God?
Is Jay
Because
Israel
today, Blessing, we are here to help women like you.
Yes.
Is Jay Israel a real man of God?
Okay, so let me explain about Jay Israel. I was introduced to Jay Israel by Zodwa. Zodwa, Jinimbi's former girlfriend.
Kandla.
Yes. Zodwa is someone I see as a sister. And I remember very well, I was discussing, I think I'd gone to her house for lunch. I just said, sis, I'm hungry. And she said, come, let's eat. And I was like, people are telling me that there's this guy called Jay who actually said something about my life on a live broadcast, but he never called me. He never asked me anything. These prophets, what's their problem? We're actually talking just for fun. And Zod was like, no, don't worry. I know him. I'm going to ask him what he was trying to do. So she actually did a 3-way WhatsApp call. That's how I got to know Jay Israel. We started talking. He was in Durban. He was thinking of moving to South Africa, to Joburg. And I said, he didn't know many people in Joburg. I said, it's fine. I'll help you look for a place. He came to Joburg. We became friends. Our relationship, we actually started. is very good friends. What I picked from Jay is someone who have confessed about where he is coming from. Jay was in the occultic world. And at one point, Jay decided that this was not the life that he wanted. And he turned around. And I'm sure you would understand that if you have been in an occultic world, for you to turn around, it's not as easy as that. So there were things that he was struggling with. And you would talk to me like, you seem like someone who prays. Tell me, I've got this issue. I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with that. And as we were talking, I could have been fooled. And it's possible that I could have been fooled. But he portrayed to me that he was a person who was willing to reform. You get what I mean? And he asked me out. When he asked me out, I felt to myself like, you know what? This guy is trying hard to be a reformed person. Let me see how far I can help him. Maybe at the end of the day, he might actually end up working for God. But I will not lie to you. I've got a lot of pending issues with Jay. They might end good. They might end bad. But as for my truth, what I know is when he came to me, he said he wanted to repent, he wanted help, he wanted someone who he felt was prayerful enough to hold his hand and walk with him. And during my days, he tried. I know Jay was into women. I've said it before. During the time I was dating him, Jay was not with any woman. If he was doing it, then he is the best player that I've ever met. You would actually tell me that, Blessing, I'm thinking of going to this place, but I don't want to go alone because I might meet a beautiful yellow bone there and end up falling in a trap.
Okay, he's for yellow bones. He's for yellow bones like you, eh?
No, me, I'm not yellow. No, me, I'm not yellow bone. Jay Israel, if you really look at his former girlfriends, he has got very beautiful exes, There was actually nothing to see in me. I was actually surprised what he saw in me. But like I said, I have got issues that are pending with Jay. Because what I'm saying to Jay is, Jay, if you came to me and you said you wanted to repent, you have to repent. If you then didn't repent, and I go out there and I start talking to Solomon, it is not about attacking you. It is about the love that I have for you to see you back to Christ. Because you said you wanted to start a movement of back to Christ. Are you getting me, Joseph?
I
So
am.
if he came to me and he said, I want to repent, he showed me. I've spoken to Solomon. I reached out to Solomon because Solomon used to be Jay Israel's friend. And I said to Solomon, for all the months that I dated Jay, there was not even one day I would have suspected of anything. That's how much he showed me that he had changed. Jay could spend a whole night in the studio worshiping, just worshiping. You understand? There are other things that I picked that, here it's a struggle. Here it's a struggle. I remember last month when I went home, I was actually, when I got home, actually, the first thing that my mother asked me before she even said, how are you? She said, how is Jay Israel? And I paused.
I wish I could just take a screenshot and show you how you are blushing every time you mention Jay. Anyway, someone here asked that Josie, please ask Blessing why she was willing to lie about being Prophet Makandiwa's second wife.
No, that one, it's like I said, people don't get it. People didn't understand what was happening with that video. And since it is something that we've taken up with the law, it's not something that I'm willing to discuss. I think the question we should be asking is, Mr. Chari, I don't know if I should call him Mr. Chari. I think what is his name? Evidence. Where did you get the video? How did you get your cameras in my house? What happened to all the 11 televisions that were in my house? I think that's the question that I have now. Because a video came from my house after there have been things that went missing. I just want to know what happened. How did you get that video? How? I mean, I'm totally confused. I'm totally lost. After your wife had come to my house uninvited. That's the question that I have now. But on Jay, I will be honest, I told Solomon, these are things that I'm struggling with Jay. If Jay is not a changed man, I am coming out. I'm going to talk about all the areas that I feel Jay must change because I believe he has got a calling. Sometimes you have to love someone enough to be able to nail them so that they may know what they're doing is wrong and go back to the path of Christ. I believe God called him. I believe he has got issues that he's struggling with. And we have decided with Solomon, whatever is not right, we are going to talk about it. So it's not like I'm totally 100% for Jay. I'm 100% for Jay. But like I was telling
What
Solomon.
What you mean 100% for Jay?
When I say I'm 100% for Jay, I mean I've got a brother, a cousin who went to jail. I remember telling people, why don't we just raise bail money so that he can come out of jail? And my siblings said, you know what? We have bailed him enough times. Maybe this time if he goes to jail and get to understand how life in jail is, he will come back a changed man. Every time I've visited him in jail, I have actually seen the change in him. That's the approach I've taken with Solomon. We are not going to allow Jay going on a path of destruction. We are not going to allow Jay going through a path of deception. If he's saying he is back to Christ, we want to see that back to Christ. Back to Christ is not when you hold parties and you've got half-naked women, you are smoking, you are drinking. We love you enough to want to fight for your destiny. So it might be tough love, but it is love we are saying. We are not going to make you get away with it. You have to give your life back to Christ and you have to be honest about it. So yes, there are things that I'm going to be talking about Jay with Solomon, but I'm not willing to talk about them here because I know Jay is not known in Zim. He's known in South Africa. That's why my platform is going to be in South Africa talking about Jay. But if you ask me, is he a true man of God? Jay is a man who loved God. He got lost along the way. He's desperately trying to come back to Christ. He's facing a lot of obstacles because I don't think it's easy to just move from that life. And, you know, it's a long walk. It's not a day job.
Is he on drugs?
No, Jay is not on drugs.
And did you ever sell drugs? Were you ever in that drug business?
You know what? I'm so used to all that. That is all evidence. Trying to destroy my name. Trying to tell me a truck, the truck number, the driver, where it was delivered, how it was sold, how the money came to me. I've never been in drugs. My business is empowering women. Solomon will tell you, I'll ask Solomon to come and just show you my warehouse that is full of products. I'm a businesswoman. What business do I have with drugs? I've never seen Jay smoking drugs. I've seen Jay drinking.
Okay. Anyway, we've spent over 1 hour 24 minutes now. But before I let you go, bless him, I mean, so from here, where to? I hear you, like now you just told me you're still going to be on another platform. You still want to continue talking about this. That's fine. But where to from here with your own life? What do you now think of prophets and pastors? Have you learned anything from all this? And on that same question, it looks like if Jay becomes a better person, you still give him a second chance, right?
If Jay becomes a better person, will I give him a better chance? Will I give him a second chance? If Jay becomes a better person, will I give him a second chance? I don't know. I don't know. He has to prove, because honestly, I'm not lying, Josie. What I'm going to talk about Jay Israel with Solomon, it's serious. And we are doing it because we love him. And we have heard Solomon's lives when he's talking about Jay. He is saying, I am doing it so that you may go back to your path of Christ. I know what my mom sent me with a message to Jay. I gave Jay that message. And I really want to see him change. Because when Jay worships, Jay can worship. If you can worship like that, if you can spend a whole night just worshiping, what is stopping you from just doing back to Christ the proper way? Do you understand? Yes. So
Okay,
yes,
so
I will
yeah,
be talking about
so
Jay.
you'll be tough. You want to be tough on him to make
I'm
him
going to be
change.
tough on him. I am
All right,
going to
so
be tough
blessing.
on him. And the other reason why I'm going to be tough on him is we share the same mother. I told him, your mother is my mother. I don't have to talk to you. I don't even have to listen to you. I don't have to pick up your calls. But for the reason that your mother took me in as her daughter, we share the same mother. But when it comes to you trying to do this life and trying to do this life and trying to do this, I'm not going to let you get away with it. It's tough love.
All right, thank you so much. So much, Blessing, for over an hour, 30 minutes almost that we've spent today. But what advice can you give to girls and many women watching us now, even guys, I mean, about pastors and prophets?
God's people, trust me, it's a game of money. Those prophets, they don't love you. If I could give Emmanuel Makandiwa $1 million US, at one misunderstanding, he could not avail himself to say, come, let's talk. If that alone is not a message, then I don't know. It is all about money. The day you are not able to give them money, they become your enemy. They do not love you. When they say they are praying for you, they are fasting for you, trust me, they are enjoying their T-bones and their pork chops. There's nothing about Christ. I will tell you, I actually saw God. It's amazing. I actually saw God in Pastor T. Makandiwa than I saw God in Prophet and Prophetess Makandiwa. It's amazing, but that's my story. I actually saw more of God in Pastor T.
Okay, that's a story for another day. Anyway, thank you so much, Blessing, for joining us. And I just hope and pray that with everything that you've gone through, you have learned something. And you
I've
need to
learned, if they are telling you that gold is going to flow from heaven, let them wait for that gold to fall from heaven so that they can build their mansions. It shouldn't be your money. Because remember, they're saying miracles do happen. Let them have miracles of their own houses, miracles of their own cars. But you can't be the miracle for them to have the car. It doesn't work like that.
So
they're just taking your money.
But would you forgive Makandiwa the same way you would want to forgive Jay also? Would you give Makandiwa a second chance?
Oh, Josie, the way I loved that man and that woman, people, my mother would tell you, my family would tell you, I loved Prophet and Prophetess Makandiwa with my whole heart. I was not willing to sell them off
for anything. I was loyal. If anyone was going to come to me about Prophet Makandiwa, I would totally switch off. I loved them until when we left. That's when I realized, no, it was not love. It was they were around me because of what they could benefit from me. It was not love. And I think a lot of people might be in that situation. If you are sitting there in the terraces, giving you $50, and you think Makandiwa will spare your life, when you start attacking him, and he could actually not negotiate with a woman who was there, supporting everywhere he went. I made sure I'll buy my own tickets, I'll follow him to support him. If he couldn't be loyal to such a woman, you don't stand a chance. That I can tell you. But yes, I'm willing to forgive them. And yes, I do pray for them.
All right. Thank you so much, Blessing Manshangwa, for joining me today.
Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I was speaking to Blessing Manshangwa, a Zimbabwean woman who's been discussing about her experience with men of God, pastors and prophets. Thank you so much for joining me today on Live Chat with Josie. Until next time, it's bye for now.